Hello there, my name is Pankaj. You are watching News9 Live. Well, news coming in from northeastern part of the country. Assam is planning to ban polygamy very soon. Chief Minister says a bill might be presented in this year itself into the Assembly for consideration. Now, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma today said that the state would be ending the polygamy in the state and will be introducing within this financial year a bill that has been ratified with the recommendations of an expert panel. And the expert committee submitted its report on the state's competence to frame laws to end polygamy. The opposition alleges that just like the earlier drive against child marriage, this move against polygamy may be used to target Muslims, the minority Muslims in the state.
মই ৰিপৰ্টটো পঢ়া নাই কিন্তু তেখেতসকলক যেহেতু আমি কমিটি এখন জাস্টিস ৰুমি ফুকন্দি বনাই দিছিলো তেখেতসকলে পলিগেমিৰ ওপৰত আইন কৰাৰ অধিকাৰ ৰাজ্য চৰকাৰৰ আছে নে নাই সেই সাবজেক্টৰ ওপৰতে আমি কমিটিখন বনাই দিছিলো আজি কমিটিখনে আমাক সৰ্বসন্মতিক্ৰমে ৰায় দিছে যে পলিগেমিৰ ওপৰত আইন কৰাৰ অধিকাৰ राज्य सरकार आसे खाली तात जितो फाइनल सिग्नेचर जितो एसेंट बुली कय हेतु राज्यपाলৰ পৰা নহয় ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ পৰা ল'ব লাগিব दैट इज द ओनली थिंग दे हैव एग्जामिन एंड दे फाइंड आउट
हिमंत बिस्वा शर्मा ने एक कमेटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट किया था एक्सपर्ट कमेटी जहां में रिटायर्ड जस्टिस रूमी फुकन चेयरमैन और 3 मेंबर्स श्री देवजीत शइकिया Advocate General of Assam and Nobin Kahil, Additional Advocate General of Assam and myself. हमको भी एक कमेटी के 3 लेकर के चेयरमैन जस्टिस रूमी फुकन था तो हम लोग को जो डायरेक्शन दिया था पोलीगमी का ऊपर गवर्नमेंट का था कि एक्सपर्ट को भी इसलिए एग्जामिन द लेजिस्लेटिव कॉम्पिटिशन ऑफ द स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर टू इनेक्ट ए लॉ टू इन पोलीगमी उसका ऊपर हम लोग 3-4 बार हम लोग बैठा है एक कमेटी बैठने का बाद एक हम लोग रिपोर्ट हम लोग प्रिपेयर किया है और रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर करके आज हम लोग का रिपोर्ट चीफ मिनिस्टर का ऑफिस में हम लोग चीफ मिनिस्टर का हाथ में दे दिया अभी बाकी गवर्नमेंट का ड्यूटी गवर्नमेंट करेगा पोलीगमी का ऊपर क्या करना है क्या करना नहीं तो ये सब गवर्नमेंट करेगा हम लोग को जो माने ये आपका कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन है हो या नहीं तो ये आपका सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई प्रोविजन ऐसा जो मांगा था हम लोग क्लियर करके दिया है बाकी सब गवर्नमेंट ने किया
ये जो हमारा स्टेट असम में एक एक्सपर्ट कमेटी बनाया था रिटायर्ड जस्टिस रूमी फुकन का लीडरशिप में और ये पोलीगमी का ऊपर एक रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर करना और सीएम हमेशा यही बात बोल के आ रहा है कि हमें पोलीगमी बंद करना चाहिए तो एक ऐसा नोशन यहाँ देने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि पोलीगमी सिर्फ मुस्लिम के बीच में हो रहा है लेकिन स्टेटिस्टिक्स ये कहते हैं कि पोलीगमी मुस्लिम से भी ज़्यादा क्रिश्चियन लोग का भी है इवन हिंदू जो है जो अदर्स कास्ट है यहाँ में इन लोग के बीच में पोलीगमी है एससी में भी पोलीगमी है तो ये एक नोशन है इसलिए कि मुस्लिम को पोलीगमी बंद करेंगे ऐसे एक नोशन दिया जा रहा है और इसके जरिए जस्ट एक पोलराइजेशन का पॉलिटिक्स करना चाहता है कि हम लोग मुस्लिम को बहुत प्रेशर में रखा अभी इस 2024 में जो इलेक्शन जनरल इलेक्शन आने वाला है इस इलेक्शन से पहले ऑल ओवर द कंट्री एक ही नोशन बीजेपी के हाथ में एक ही मुद्दा है जो हम मुस्लिम को बहुत तकलीफ दे रहे हैं ये एक नोशन जो मेजॉरिटी कम्युनिटी को देने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं तो ये एक पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा है ये एक पॉलिटिकल गिमिक है जो अभी 370 भी देखिए काउ प्रोटेक्शन बिल देखिए पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल बिल देखिए फिर हिजाब का देखिए, तो हर एक ऐसा, फिर ज्ञानवापी फिर आ गया, फिर हरियाणा का जो इंसिडेंट ये देखिए, तो पूरा इंडिया में एक ही बात वो लोग चला रहे हैं कि हम लोग मुस्लिम को तकलीफ में रख रहे हैं, और इसको देख के मेजोरिटी कम्युनिटी को लुभाना चाहते हैं कि ये लोग हम बहुत तकलीफ में रखा है। तो ये पोलराइजेशन का पॉलिटिक्स है, इससे अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है।
आपके राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री ये कह रहे हैं कि बहु विवाह जो पॉलीगैमी है वो ख़त्म किया जाएगा। कमेटी ने अपनी रिपोर्ट दी है कि असम विधानसभा के पास ये अधिकार है कि वो इस पर कानून ला सकते हैं।
देखिए, बहु विवाह ये ऐसे भी समाज के लिए अच्छा चीज़ नहीं है, और मुसलमान समाज में भी ये रिड्यूस हो गया, पहले जितना था उतना नहीं है। और ऐसा नहीं है सिर्फ ये मुसलमान समाज में है, आप अरुणाचल जाइए वहाँ भी है, और असम में भी ऐसा नहीं है, हिंदुओं का भी बिल्कुल नहीं है, ऐसा भी नहीं है। तो देखिए, ये जो कानून वो असेंबली में जब पास होगा, असेंबली में सारे विधायकगण है उस पर ऊपर चर्चा करेगा, लेकिन इसका मकसद क्या है, इसका बैकग्राउंड में क्या उद्देश्य है, वो ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। क्योंकि हमारा मुख्यमंत्री ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ध्रुवीकरण के ऊपर नज़र देते हैं। अगर ध्रुवीकरण इसका उद्देश्य है तो हम लोग इसका खिलाफ हो, लेकिन बहु विवाह ये मुसलमान समाज के लिए भी अच्छा नहीं है। और मुसलमान समाज में आप मुसलमान समाज का शिक्षा बढ़ाना होगा, आप मुसलमान समाज में हेल्थ फैसिलिटी ज़्यादा देना होगा, वो अब नहीं कर रहा है। ये मुख्यमंत्री यही मुख्यमंत्री है जो मुख्यमंत्री पहले कहा था हम मदरसा बंद कर देंगे ताकि मुसलमान डॉक्टर बने। जब वो नीट में ज़्यादा थोड़ा मुसलमान बच्चा आ गया तो मुख्यमंत्री बोलना शुरू कर दे, एजुकेशन जहाज शुरू हो गया। देखो, मुसलमान समाज का तरक्की करना होगा, शिक्षा देना होगा, हेल्थ फैसिलिटी देना होगा, तब सारे खत्म होगा। तो मैं इस बिल का खिलाफ भी नहीं हूँ, लेकिन इसका उद्देश्य क्या है वो दिखना होगा।
So that's that. The voices from both the sides talking about why this particular issue of polygamy is so crucial in Assam. Someone referred to the child marriages that have been banned in Assam. They were, many say, aimed at the Bengali-speaking Muslims. It was prevalent in their society. Now, the issue of polygamy, again, there are voices which are saying that it is targeting the Muslim community, the minority Muslim community there. We are joined by Dr. Thangzaku P. Tuming, Assistant Professor, National Law University and Judicial Academy, Guwahati. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for speaking to us. Obviously, it's a matter which needs very clear understanding, and also from all aspects, be it the legal matters, be it the societal matters or the economic matters. My first question to you would be, and that's what came to my mind when I heard this news this morning, what are the main reasons behind Assam's decision to introduce a bill to end polygamy? What is the reason behind it?
Thank you for the invitation. Assam government, as that was played out in the bites, I believe one of the concern maybe with regard to the earlier state drive to check the child marriage, and also taking it further forward. In fact, the Assam Chief Minister has vision for its own state and then the Northeast as well. So in the larger interest of maybe doing away with what could have been regressive in the eyes of society, and also to bring about a more egalitarian society, because somewhere when we allow polygamy, and there are more than one spouse which a person can actually get married to, there's always this concern of the well-being of the wives who are involved in such type of marriage. And in that more intimate context is the dignity of the women. And therefore, it kind of create an imbalance in the society. And in fact, in the larger idea of a societal polygamous society, It has usually been a tool for keeping more wives by a person who had more means and resources. And
Right.
if this is not checked, there's a possibility that the person who has more resources will actually create an artificial a population kink with regard to access to rights to marriage as well, because the person who has more resources might end up keeping more wives, and then the other person who did not have access to the greater resources might not able to get a conducive or maybe a more
Right.
complementing spouse. This is a socio-economic study which actually was done in African states, whereby
Right.
the chief and all that who had more resources keeps more wives, and then the other young person who are not that resourceful not have access to those options of wives. But then in the Indian context, in the Northeast Assam context, maybe the larger interest of the CM and then the state of Assam is to bring about a larger egalitarian society, keeping in mind the dignity of women at large.
Right. Dr. Thumming, obviously, from your point of view, you explained what was the reason for this particular bill to have come into picture. But if I may ask you, given this scenario pans out, in your view, what are the two benefits and two drawbacks if polygamy is ended in Assam?
Okay, so if we say the benefits part of it, the benefit in the, like I said already, it does away an idea of regressive practice, right? Because in an idea of an equal partnership of husband and wife in a marriage, it is understandable that any woman would not want to share consortium with another woman, right? So therefore, in a popular conception also, there's this a conception of the other woman, and therefore, if the rule is made that there should be one wife for one man, that ensures maybe the larger dignity of a woman in a marriage. So the benefit that can come out with is that India will also stand at par with international conventions and treaties like Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. So therefore, this will help projection of India as a society where the status of women is upheld and their dignity and their respect is ensured through state enacted laws. Now, the other concern is that since there's a legal matter to it also, what I see is it's not deviation from the topic, but then the nature and inclination of human when we study from some behavioral study context when we look at it. India has done away with adultery as an offense, right? And on the other side, India is also progressively moving towards an idea of legalization of live-in relationships. Now, why I bring this to the forth is that there are certain cases like Indra Sharma versus VKV Sarma, and there's a Badri Prasad cases also. When you have made adultery not necessarily an offense anymore via the Joseph versus Union of India case, to live in does not in any way tantamount to breaking of the law, since it's no more adulterous, right? So person who are already married may enter into an affair and thereby decide to have
Right,
a
Dr. Toming.
relationship, right?
Right. Your point taken.
On the other hand, where there's an idea of polygamous relationship and it is legalized by religious institutions, so therefore India being a secular country and it also accept an idea that polygamy, because of the custom and practices,
Right.
is also a valid marriage.
Right, Mr. Toming.
In that way, there's a larger protection of a woman, because when it comes to live-in relationship, the issues usually are with regard to women wanting a status
Issues
of
with
woman.
regard to women. Dr. Toming, stay with us. Indeed, the points that you have made obviously call for a bigger look and a clearer look on how the state government is going to actually implement it. And on news9live.com also, you can catch all the latest. This obviously story, Assam plans to end polygamy as expert panel submits report, found it's mentioned this morning, and Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma obviously clarifying this through a press conference that yes, the expert committee has submitted its report and it would be tabled in the state assembly very soon. The BJP ruled state of Assam is prepared to pass legislation outlawing polygamy during the current fiscal year, which is considered a front-runner, a forerunner to the ruling party's plan to implement UCC. A bill to prohibit polygamy would be tabled this fiscal year. Assam Chief Minister said this hours after the expert committee's report on state's ability to do so was submitted. The whole detailed report you can catch here on news9live.com. Very interactive page there, and we have an interactive screen also here for you so that we could tell you what exactly it means, what is the fine print, and where does the story go beyond the story. Dr. Toming, talking about the claim that the Chief Minister has made, fine. I mean, the expert panel recommended it, and as a Chief Minister, he is imbibing it. But how do you think the state government, implement this? Do you think some challenges would be there, or is it an easy way out for them?
This is very hard to say right now, because one needs to really know what is the Assam societal fabric. One part is, if the Muslim community of Assam, in that sense, if they imbibe it and say that, of course, just because we are Muslim, we do not necessarily endorse an idea of polygamous relationship, because we believe that it was a requirement of a time way back in the 700 Common Era, when Islam first came. And the idea of how polygamy was introduced has to do with the concern of maybe the widows, and then the breaking down of family because of a constant war that was happening at that time. And when it was introduced and then allowed during that time, the society was in transition, whereby there would be lots of widow women, and then the moment the husband or the father of the family dies, the social security, etc., also gets removed. And therefore, to protect and preserve women from falling into destitution and other evils of society, it was permitted that a man to give larger protection to these other probable women who could end up being destitute. It was allowed to be part and parcel of
Dr. Toming,
institution of Muslim marriage.
Right.
So that is from the context of a Muslim community. But then Assam Muslim community are very inclusive and very progressive as far as some of the experience or exposure that I have with.
Right. Dr. Toming, also stay with us. We are also joined by Abhijit Majumdar, political analyst, and Chandraprakash Sharma. He is a senior journalist from Guwahati. Sharma ji, let me begin with you first. You're closer to the state, and I presume you are in Guwahati, also the capital city. Hectic activities there. And since we are almost through to the initial half of this discussion, let me ask you, and also I will ask my colleagues in control room to bring up a graphics that shows that how polygamy is not very unique to the Muslim community, the minority Muslim community in Assam. They are across all communities, be it Buddhists, be it Christians. It's there in the society for a long time. We will take a look at that graphics by National Family Health Survey. Mr. Sarma, what reasons would Chief Minister give it to the society on the whole that this particular bill has been implemented or tabled? How should the society look at it?
I think this bill is required very urgently. Because you know the problem Assam is facing is a unique problem. It's Bangladeshi influx, basically from across the state, and there are more than 1 crore Bengali-speaking Muslims now in Assam. And if polygamy is allowed to continue in Muslims and they are allowed to continue with these 4 women, 1 man marrying 4 women, then definitely the population of Muslims, which is rising exponentially, will grow further. And this will create an imbalance in the state where Assamese people are already in minority, I must say. So this is urgently required from the social point of view in Assam.
Right.
And at the same time, this bill is also required for the well-being of Muslim women, because
Chief Minister also said that. Yeah.
Yes, it infringes upon the rights of the Muslim women, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. As per the Article 14, they have been given the right to equality. This bill infringes upon that right. Article 15 says non-discrimination on the basis of gender bias, or Article 21, which guarantees them right to live with dignity. So I want to know from any person who is advocating in favor of this law that who will want a second wife for his sister, or which women would want a second wife for her husband. Women can share anything, but not her husband. So this is a grave injustice.
Sarmaji, I get your point, and I respect that also. But what is enshrined in a particular community, in a particular religion, we have to, as a democratic country, have to respect that. Now, talking about the changes in the personal laws, talking about how does this augur or pave way for the UCC, I will definitely come back and discuss it with you. But Abhijit Majumdar is also there with us. Dada, Sarmaji has made a very moot point saying that this bill was necessary, specifically in the state of Assam. Your initial thoughts?
I have not agreed Sarmaji speak, because he said that 1 crore Bangladeshi is present in Assam. तो एक चीज देखिए
जी,
ये जो कानून लेके आया, ये क्या बांग्लादेशी के लिए लेके आया? और हाँ, ये बात तो सच है कि इस्लाम धर्म में एक पॉलिगेसी सिस्टम लिखा नहीं है, लेकिन जो सिस्टम चालू हुआ वो सिस्टम अचानक उठा देगा किस लिए? ये क्या ओनली वोट बैंक के लिए कर रहे? अगर वोट बैंक के लिए कोई कम्युनिटी को लेके खेल रहा है वो ठीक नहीं होगा, कोई स्टेट के लिए ठीक नहीं होगा। अगर शर्मा साहब जैसे बोला जाए 1 करोड़ के ऊपर बांग्लादेशी है, तो बांग्लादेशी को बांग्लादेश भेजिए, कौन मना कर सकता?
जी,
अगर बांग्लादेशी है उसका क्षेत्र तो दीजिए, कितना बांग्लादेशी है।
तो उसके लिए एनआरसी और एनआरसी लाया था वो सब, इज दैट ओके? इज द स्टेट ओके विद दैट?
नहीं, उसके लिए एनआरसी लेकर आया, लेकिन एनआरसी इम्प्लीमेंट तो हुआ
इम्प्लीमेंट
नहीं
नहीं
हुआ।
हुआ।
एनआरसी का पैसा जो है वो खर्चा हुआ, 1500 करोड़ रुपया हमारा पैसा लेकर एनआरसी बने, 1500 करोड़ रुपया टैक्स पेयर का पैसा है। वो तो आज तक नहीं हुआ, जब इलेक्शन आएगा फिर दोबारा एनआरसी लेके आ जाएगा। तो ये तो सिस्टम चल रहा है। देखिए, कोई भी चीज, कम्युनिटी का चीज बोलिए, कोई भी अच्छा काम के लिए कोई भी पॉलिटिकल इशू नहीं होना चाहिए। हाँ, ये बात ठीक है कि अगर मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी मान लिया तब तो वो लोग का साथ बैठ के आलोचना करके कोई भी चीज, कोई भी डिसीजन अगर लेगा, सबको मिलके, क्यों हमारा जो ये हिंदुस्तान है सबको लेके चलता है। इसमें क्रिश्चियन, ईसाई, मुसलमान, हिंदू सब मिलते हैं। आप एक काम कीजिए, सबके साथ बैठ के एक सर्वदल बैठक करके उसका बाद हमारा संविधान में जो दिया है वो संविधान चेंज नहीं करके संविधान के ऊपर बातचीत करके पार्लियामेंट में आलोचना करके तो कीजिए ना।
Abhijit Dada, you have made your point. Mr. Sarma wants to make a point. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Actually, this polygamy law is not mandatory in Sharia. It is suggestive in nature.
Right.
So my good friend Abhijit Majumdar, he must know that this is not a part of religious practice of Islam. First thing. Secondly, when polygamy was abolished in Christian community, it was done away with on the basis of 1872 Act, Christian Marriage Act, and in Parsis 1936 Marriage Act of Parsis, and Hindu Marriage Act 1955. It was banned in among all these communities, and even at that time, no such discussions like societal discussions were taking place or took place at that time. So government enacts law when they see that it is becoming a discriminatory law among the society. It discriminates against one gender. It promotes bias against one gender.
Right.
So this law has to enact on that basis. Why a particular community, Muslim community, will be given more preferences than the other community?
You are basically showing us a silver lining that it is about women empowerment, right? Dr. Tombing, from the societal point of view, from the women folk of Assam, all mixed down. Here we are not going down who comes from where, who is what. Do you believe that this is a welcome step?
For any new law to come or any state initiative, I would agree with the panelists that it would be good if it is discussed at a certain societal level, because if we look back a little bit on history, there's a case called Ram Prasad Seth versus State of UP in 1960. This is the time when the Hindu Code Bill were introduced and the Hindu laws were in fact enacted, the Hindu Marriage Act particularly. And this act for the first time brought about an idea of social welfare legislation among the Hindus, and whereby it made requirement under Section 5, clause A, that there should not be any spouse living at the time of the marriage. So what it impressed upon was that now there's a requirement that there should not be any subsisting marriage before a marriage is performed. So polygamy became, in fact, goes against the societal norm. However, in this particular Ram Prasad state, what the facts of the case that were discussed was that the petitioner said, "I'm a Hindu and I cannot die without a child. And since I do not have a child from my first wife, I should be allowed to get married second time so that my chances of having a son before my death and then my aspiration should be fulfilled as a Hindu." Now, in this particular case, the Supreme Court looked into what are the cardinal practices among the Hindus and how important it is for a person to have a son and also the right to get a second marriage. Now,
Right.
the Supreme Court here clearly made this particular observation, and which became in some way law of the land when it says that among the Hindus, you have the option of adoption also, and
Right.
second marriage is not the norm. That's what the Supreme Court established and said it is not cardinal
Right.
to the Hindu marriage. So that's how it prevailed. Now, that is a social welfare legislation. But then, with regard to other personal laws, like our friends has already said, that Christian communities also have monogamy, Parsi have monogamy. But then, for a Muslim person, when they say they're governed by the Sharia Act, and then the primary sources of a Muslim person being the Quran and then the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad,
Right.
the concern now is that can a state go deeper into the larger secularization of
Right.
the society?
How far
and
the
then
state can go.
This should be a universal norm.
Right.
Yes,
This
yes.
panel also, Dr. Tomkin, thank you so much. This panel also has said in as many words, the state government is competent to enact such a law. Request all my three guests here to stay with us. Very quickly, we will take a look at what the Chief Minister had to say, and then we come back and discuss how it paves the way for UCC and the consultation part. Abhijit Dada, that you mentioned what should be done, सबसे बातचीत होनी चाहिए, उस पर हम लोग अभी वापस आते हैं. Let's listen to the Chief Minister first.
মই ৰিপৰ্টটো পঢ়া নাই, কিন্তু তেখেতসকলক যিহেতু আমি কমিটি এখন জাষ্টিছ ৰুমি ফুকন্দি বনাই দিছিলোঁ, তেখেতসকলে পলিগেমিৰ ওপৰত আইন কৰাৰ অধিকাৰ ৰাজ্য চৰকাৰৰ আছে নে নাই, সেই সাবজেক্টৰ ওপৰতে আমি কমিটিখন বনাই দিছিলোঁ যে পলিগমিৰ ওপৰত আইন কৰাৰ অধিকাৰ ৰাজ্য চৰকাৰৰ আছে, খালি তাত যেটো ফাইনেল সিগনেচাৰ যেটো এসেন্ট বুলি কয় হেতু ৰাজ্যপালৰ পৰা নহয় ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ পৰা ল'ব লাগিব. That is the only thing they have examined and they find out.
Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma there, obviously listing why this recommendation of the expert panel will go through and why it should be enacted. And he said, and I quote, there is not much need to take the opinion of groups and social organizations because we have got the pulse that Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist and all the communities have welcomed this initiative. Abhijit Majumdar, how do you see this? And you were mentioning about taking all the members together. Looks like the Chief Minister has already had his opinion made on it.
देखिए, चीफ मिनिस्टर साथ एक बार बोला है कि राष्ट्रपति से परमिशन लेना पड़ेगा लास्ट. लेकिन एक बात है कि इसमें आप बोलिए तो जो आज का डेट में मुस्लिम समाज इतना एजुकेटेड हो गया और वो लोग कितना आदमी बोले जैसे कितना आदमी शादी कर रहा है, 2 से ज्यादा, 1 से ज्यादा. वो पहले छानबीन कीजिए ना कि कितना. हमारा असम लेके आप तो असम का ऊपर कर रहे, तो असम का ऊपर आप एक समीक्षा कीजिए कि कितना मुस्लिम आदमी 2 से ज्यादा, 1 से ज्यादा शादी किया. अगर ये सिचुएशन आप देखेगा, अगर इसमें कोई चर्चा होगा, कोई इंक्वायरी होगा, तो मालूम पड़ेगा जो 1% भी मुस्लिम नहीं है जो 2 से ज्यादा शादी करे. अरे आज का समाज में, आज का डेट में एक बीबी का खिलाने के लिए पैसा नहीं है किसी के पास, वो क्या 2-3 शादी करेगा? वो तो पहले करता था, पहले जमाना में सबका पास पैसा था, सबका इकोनॉमी अच्छा था. अभी इकोनॉमी डे टू डे डाउन हो रहा है, प्राइस हाई हो रहा है. तो ये सिचुएशन में हमारा जो लग रहा है कि आजकल स्थिति नहीं है. और हेमंत बिस्वा शर्मा साहब एक चीज के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा जोर दे रहे हैं. वो तो खुद ही बोलता है हमको मुस्लिम वोट नहीं चाहिए. अगर आपका मन में ये है कि हमको मुस्लिम वोट नहीं चाहिए बोल के हम मुस्लिम के ऊपर जो बैन लगाना है लगाओ, तो अब जाके हिंदू लोग संतुष्ट होकर हिंदू लोग को अच्छा मिलेगा बोल के हिंदू वोट हमारा पास आ जाएगा. अगर ये उनका मन में ये स्थिति है, हम देखा है कि बीजेपी का मन में, आप देखिए शिलादित्य देव बोल के वो लोग का एक एमएलए है, वो जाके सिलचर में बोला जे हम आजान बंद कर देगा। आजान बंद किस लिए बोला? आप सोचिए कि उधर में जो हिंदू लोग है वो ये सोच रहा है कि बोराक वैली में अगर हिंदू और मुस्लिम जो बांग्ला भाषी है, बंगाली स्पीक, तो बांग्ला भाषी हिंदू मुस्लिम अगर इकट्ठा हो जाएगा
तो उनको नुकसान
बीजेपी
होगा।
खत्म।
जी दादा
एकदम खत्म।
बिल्कुल आपने जो पॉइंट बोला है, द पॉइंट दैट यू हैव मेड ऑब्वियसली इज एंड Sarma ji, now I would want to, what Abhijit is saying is not something that anyone has admitted to, but opposition parties are alleging that just like the earlier drive against child marriage, the new move may be used to target minority population, especially Muslim. ऐसा क्यों है that time and again these examples are being put together कि चाइल्ड मैरिज हटाया तो वो बांग्लादेशी या जो बंगाली मुस्लिम थे, बंगाली बोलने वाला, उनको टारगेट कर रहा था, और अभी इसको मैरिजेस पर, पॉलीगैमी पर रोक लगाई है. व्हाई इज इट दैट ऑपोजिशन इज रेकिंग दिस इशू?
See, actually, opposition's main vote bank is Muslim vote bank. So, they are trying to convince them that we are your savior and we want the polygamy to stay, irrespective of what happens to the Muslim women. My good friend Abhijit must know that abolishing polygamy is not just a communal issue. Even if it is communal, here is the government must have in mind the greater good of the Muslim women, and no one can deny that Muslim women will be empowered if this law is abolished. And so far as the societal consensus on the issue is concerned, I would like to say that when a committee is constituted, in this case under Justice Rumi, you have a member, Nekibu Jaman, is a renowned advocate and one of the most respected legal minds in Assam. And he has respect cutting across the society. Definitely, when he voiced concerns against this law, definitely there is a consensus in Muslim society also against this law. And the consent of Muslim society definitely has been taken into account before submitting this report to the government. So in overall situation, there is a ground to believe that government has taken into consideration all the aspects, all the societal concern. Definitely, the government is there and it is run by a political party. So political rhetoric is going to be there.
Political rhetoric is going to be there. Okay.
But apart from this political rhetoric, whether this law or enacting this law serves the greater purpose of
or not
of serving the society or not,
that has to be made clear. Mr. Sarma, valid point there. Valid point. Dr. Tombing, what Mr. Sarma says that political rhetoric will always be there. Now it is the common people who has to sift through it, who has to see through it and has to understand and make a informed choice. I mean, talking about democracy, this is also an aspect to it. But I still believe that there is the role of the government to raise awareness, to make people aware of the new law and its implication to general people. How best do you think that Himanta's government would be able to do it?
I believe the CM has some vision again here also, because As we briefly mentioned, the state overdrive with regard to child marriage, and then we know that because of there was an overdrive, what happened was that the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006 was put into force, but then because of the idea of privacy of the husband and the wife, if the marriage has been solemnized legally, the husband cannot be prosecuted, but then the Ben Baratis were prosecuted. And then the Guwahati High Court finally said that rather than looking to that chaos and creating chaos to it, let's look at the larger societal spectrum of it. And thereby the state overdrive on child marriage stopped. But then what I also believe is that because from every kind of a challenges, there are new things which emerges. I believe that as per the National Family Health Survey also, Assam has a very high rate and statistics with regard to birth mortality, etc. also. What it overdrive could achieve is that maybe from now onwards, people might be more careful with regard to child marriage and therefore try to fulfill the legal age of marriage. Now, with regard to this ban on polygamous marriages, maybe the state may next come forward with the departmental inquiry with regard to that, and then therefore access to services, etc., might also be conditioned on an idea that you are in a monogamous marriage, not in a polygamous marriage, and therefore, in the longer run, I don't know what egalitarian society we're going to achieve, but the Assam CM might have some maybe vision out of this
to actually convince and tell people that how it is important and in their benefit to have a ban on the polygamy in the state. All right, so now before we move ahead, gentlemen, let's listen in once again to the Congress voice that we have for you on this particular issue, and then we go to Abhijit Majumdar, who has been patiently waiting for us.
आपके राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री ये कह रहे हैं कि बहु विवाह जो पॉलीगैमी है वो ख़त्म किया जाएगा। कमेटी ने अपनी रिपोर्ट दी है कि असम विधानसभा के पास ये अधिकार है कि वो इस पर कानून ला सकते हैं।
देखिए, बहु विवाह ये ऐसे भी समाज के लिए अच्छा चीज़ नहीं है, और मुसलमान समाज में भी ये रिड्यूस हो गया, पहले जितना था उतना नहीं है। और ऐसा नहीं है सिर्फ ये मुसलमान समाज में है, आप अरुणाचल जाइए वहाँ भी है, और असम में भी ऐसा नहीं है, हिंदुओं का भी बिल्कुल नहीं है, ऐसा भी नहीं है। तो देखिए, ये जो कानून वो असेंबली में जब पास होगा, असेंबली में सारे विधायकगण है उस पर ऊपर चर्चा करेगा, लेकिन इसका मकसद क्या है, इसका बैकग्राउंड में क्या उद्देश्य है, वो ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। क्योंकि हमारा मुख्यमंत्री ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ध्रुवीकरण के ऊपर नज़र देते हैं। अगर ध्रुवीकरण इसका उद्देश्य है तो हम लोग इसका खिलाफ हो, लेकिन बहु विवाह ये मुसलमान समाज के लिए भी अच्छा नहीं है। और मुसलमान समाज में आप मुसलमान समाज का शिक्षा बढ़ाना होगा, आप मुसलमान समाज में हेल्थ फैसिलिटी ज़्यादा देना होगा, वो अब नहीं कर रहा है। ये मुख्यमंत्री यही मुख्यमंत्री है जो मुख्यमंत्री पहले कहा था हम मदरसा बंद कर देंगे ताकि मुसलमान डॉक्टर बने। जब वो नीट में ज़्यादा थोड़ा मुसलमान बच्चा आ गया तो मुख्यमंत्री बोलना शुरू कर दिया, एजुकेशन जहाज शुरू हो गया। देखो, मुसलमान समाज का तरक्की करना होगा, शिक्षा देना होगा, हेल्थ फैसिलिटी देना होगा, तब सारे खत्म होगा। तो मैं इस बिल का खिलाफ भी नहीं हूँ, लेकिन इसका उद्देश्य क्या है वो दिखना होगा।
Right, I mean diverse thoughts there. Abhijit Dada, Chief Congress leader saying lots needs to be done. सिर्फ इससे काम नहीं चलेगा कि आप ऐसे changes कर दें. Education and rest of the aspects also need to be worked on. How do you see it?
देखिए, अब्दुल खलक साहब जो बात बोला है, ये बात ठीक ही बात बोला है। बोला ये आज का दिन में जब मुस्लिम समाज एजुकेटेड हो गया तो कितना आदमी के पास ये है, बहु विवाह प्रथा है। अगर ये करने से हमारा स्टेट का, हमारा देश का कोई फायदा होगा, कोई अच्छा होगा, कर देना चाहिए। मुस्लिम आदमी लोग अगर सपोर्ट करेगा तो ये इसका करना है। लेकिन एक बात है, हमारा चीफ मिनिस्टर डॉक्टर हिमंत बिस्वा को एक चीज का ऊपर ध्यान देना चाहिए कि वो हमारे साथ किस लिए आज राजनीतिक इशू हो गया। वो हमारे साथ एक ही बात बोलता है, हिंदू क्या कहा जाए, मुस्लिम क्या कहा जाए। उनका मन में ये आ गया, हम अगर मुस्लिम समाज के ऊपर कुछ काम करेगा, कुछ एक्शन ले लेगा, तो हिंदू लोग हमारा साथ में आ जाएगा। तो जब आप चीफ मिनिस्टर हो गया, जब कोई प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया, उनको राजधर्म पालन करना चाहिए। आप चीफ मिनिस्टर है, सबका चीफ मिनिस्टर है।
आप चीफ मिनिस्टर
हमारा भी चीफ मिनिस्टर है। हेलो,
यस, गो अहेड।
तो इसीलिए कोई भी अगर इशू अगर देश का भला के लिए हो रहा है, कोई इशू अगर स्टेट का अच्छा के लिए हो रहा है, कोई इशू अगर मुस्लिम समाज का अच्छा के लिए हो रहा है, कोई इशू अगर हिंदू लोग का अच्छे के लिए हो रहा है, कोई इशू अगर क्रिश्चियन लोग का अच्छा के लिए हो रहा है, तो सबका सपोर्ट आपका पास आ जाएगा।
और सबका साथ सबका विकास उनका मोटो भी है दादा, सबका साथ सबका विकास सबका प्रयास। बीजेपी
सबका विकास आ जाएगा।
राइट दादा,
आपका ये मोटो है, तो आप पहले मणिपुर जाकर देखिए ना उधर का क्या हो रहा है। आज इंडिया में कोई जगह का हम जनता रो रहा है, कोई जगह में आपका सबका सामने कोई लड़की को रेप कर रहा है। आप वो इशू डाइवर्ट करके आप अगर अभी ये इशू लेके आता है, जे हमारा ये इशू होने से हमारा हिंदू वोट हमारा पास आ जाएगा, तो ये छल चेतन राजनीति ज्यादा भी नहीं होता। हो सकता है अभी कुछ लोग का फायदा होगा, लेकिन अभी आपकी वोट एडुकेटेड है। और सेकेंड जो है, जब हम लोग देखा जो अजमल का जो यूनिवर्सिटी है, अजमल साहब का यूनिवर्सिटी से जब ज्यादा से ज्यादा डॉक्टर इंजीनियर आया, तब हम लोग को तो सपोर्ट कर देना चाहिए। हाँ, आज मुस्लिम समाज एजुकेटेड हो गया, हम लोग का असम से ज्यादा डॉक्टर IAS IPS लोग आ रहा है। और हिंदू मुस्लिम थोड़ी है, हमारा स्टेट से जब ज्यादा IAS IPS आ रहा है,
राइट दादा,
हम लोग का पॉइंट होना चाहिए।
सो बेसिकली दादा, मेरिट देखिए, परफॉर्मेंस देखिए, हिंदू मुस्लिम नहीं देखिए। जेंटलमैन, थैंक यू सो मच एक्चुअली फॉर टेकिंग टाइम आउट। अभिजीत दादा, ऑल्सो योर पॉइंट वेल टेकन. Mr. Sarma, Dr. Tombing, thank you so much for speaking to us today and listening to our fellow panelists. And nonetheless, we talk about either the banning of polygamy, whether the Assam Chief Minister and the Assam Cabinet discusses it in this fiscal year, that also remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, that any change in the societal norm, be it of any religion, obviously is meted with some sort of opposition. And also this fabric that needs to be changed, well, the Chief Minister will have to answer and convince the people of Assam to take a closer look at it. Thank you so much for watching this broadcast on News9 Live.
इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि सभी लोग कर रहे हैं।
कोचिंग इज नाउ स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम ग्रेड 3, 4, 5, 6।
कोटा जाने वाली बीच राह में आधे टेस्ट देके हैं सिलेक्शन की चाह में।
ऑल इंडिया का बच्चा कोटा जाता है।
This rat race is for rats, not for humans. So why should we even be a part of it?
The Rat Race. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
The world is facing a crisis.
You've noticed